Hello, everyone. We wrote a paper called A Systematic Review of Artificial Intelligence and Mental Health in the Context of Social Media. I am Xin Chen. I'll be the one to talk about our paper with you guys today. So, why is the study of mental health important? Let's look at some numbers. Almost 50% of the adults in the world have experienced mental health issues at a certain point of their lives. And for 14.3% of the deaths was because of mental illness. So in the US, we have almost 20% of the adults suffer some mental disease. And for young Americans from age 18 to 24, 81% of them reported that they suffer mental issues like anxiety, depression, and eating disorder. So we can see that mental health is actually pretty important, and it could happen to almost everybody. That is why mental health is also included in the agenda of the United Nations, the World Health Organizations, the International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank. Why AI is related to mental health? So we know that AI nowadays is like the buzzword. Like everybody wants to talk about AI, and companies want to use AI to improve their business models. So it's actually the same thing for healthcare industry. From early 2013, some researchers already combined machine learning algorithms, natural language processing, and clinical psychology to categorize a person's mental state from their social media data. A really good example is that in 2020, Apple announced that they will work with University UCLA on a mental health study about depression using their Apple devices. So for example, we can monitor a person's sleep schedule from Apple Watch, or to analyze people's facial expressions or how fast people are actually typing a message on their iPhone. So through all those information, we can try to find out if there is a signal for a mental health concern. Another example is Facebook. They have a suicide AI algorithm that to help you scan through all the social media posts to see if someone's gonna commit suicide, so you can reach out to that person's families, because we are all like friends with our families on Facebook, so it's just super easy to reach out. So we already know that there are examples using AI for mental health detection, and this is actually more prevalent in the context of social media. And there are some studies showing that by using social media data, we can predict the presence of a specific mental disease with an accuracy rate around 80 to 90%. So for example, some doctors would review a patient's social media activities before giving them an interview, just to see if there's any indicator for depression. So all the facts lead to our research. We were really interested in doing a systematic review and organize all those relevant studies about AI, mental health, and social media. So we were trying to see what kind of AI algorithms were applied to mental health prediction and detection, or if there were any challenges in this research area, and hopefully to provide some suggestions for people who were also interested in this kind of study. And we got our data through 3 different search engines, ACM, JMIR, and CL-Psych. So basically, ACM focuses on computer science and machine learning. JMIR focuses on healthcare research. And CL-Psych is a critical interdisciplinary resource for machine learning, natural language processing, and mental health. We came up with different combinations of query to search for papers. But eventually we decided to narrow down just into 3 keywords: artificial intelligence, social media, and mental health, because we just got the best result from only using 3 keywords. So this is a flowchart for screening the articles from 3 different databases. At the beginning, we have 683 papers in total. So firstly, we just screen the articles based on the title and the abstract. So we had 85 papers left. Then we just read through all the context of those 85 papers and got rid of those papers that weren't relevant. And eventually we had 37 papers for our final study. And this is a pie chart to show that among the 37 papers, how many of them came from each database. And we could see that CLSEC has the most numbers of relevant papers in this research area, followed by ACM and GMIR. And this is the trend of the numbers of studies per database from year 2016 to 2021. We could see that there's an increasing interest in using AI for mental health studies. This is the distribution of different social media platforms that the researchers were using for data collection. We can see that Reddit is the most popular platform, followed by Twitter and different mental health forums. And this is the number of times that each mental health disorder being studied in those papers. So the most frequent ones are suicide and depression. But you can also see that some papers chose to study like addiction, anxiety, schizophrenia, PTSD, like something like that. We also gathered all the models and features that used in the studies. We saw that support vector machine and random forest were the most popular techniques for this kind of research. And some other papers were using like CNN and decision tree. So you can basically see all the methods that here. In our final discussion, we identified 3 major issues on this topic. The use of social media data is underutilized for mental care. So social media data is newly available everywhere, and the benefit of combining those online data with computational strategies could be tremendous. And the second point is the lack of collaboration between 2 research communities. Because this research area is interdisciplinary, so we need both the computer scientists and the clinicians to work together and share knowledge with each other. So for example, for our computer scientists, when we are working on this project, we have to know like what are the clinical criteria for evaluating if the patient has depression. But if we don't understand that, even though we have the model already, like it may not be accurate, and the model may not be utilized by the medical professionals. And the last point is the lack of attention to human factors. And we believe that could be an ethical issue. So for example, the patients shouldn't be treated as input for data training or building an AI model, because they're real humans. They should be treated carefully and not being harmed during the research process. Because we've seen cases like the patients don't want to get treated because they feel like they're being monitored and observed by the researchers, and they don't feel really comfortable about it. But I feel like the reason we are working on this kind of study is to help people, not to cause more damage. So this is something like if anyone wants to work on this area of research, we should be more considerate.